Hello guys, how are you? I hope you're pretty fine. Welcome to the channel with Jar of Talents. So you might be eagerly waiting for a new video of WebGR of Talents. It's a little late this time, please forgive me for that. So in the previous video, we were looking at force and laws of motion chapter. It has been pretty long, so do you remember the chapter number? So, yep, it's chapter 9, I remember it for you. And it's of CBSE NCERT of class 9. So, we have already seen in our 2 or 3 videos on this chapter. So in the video 1, we have discussed about balanced and unbalanced forces and some terms which are related to it, which we have already learned in the previous classes. And in the second video, we have looked at the first law of motion. So these videos are pretty quite important. So I recommend you to watch this video first before watching this video so that you will understand this video better. If you hadn't watched them, watch them right now. Links are in the description. So now we have already completed the first law of motion in the previous videos. So we'll be looking at the second law of motion in this video. So actually, the first law of motion indicates that when an unbalanced external force acts on an object, its velocity changes. That is, the object gets an acceleration. We would now like to study how the acceleration of an object depends on the force applied to it and how we measure a force. So for that, I want you to think a little bit. But let us recount some daily observations that we find in our everyday life. So actually, during the game of tennis, if the ball hits a player, what do you observe? You observe that it doesn't hurt him much if it hits also. But on the other hand, if when a fast moving cricket ball hits a spectator, he might even fall down. I'll tell you a small fact. Some people even died, the spectators even died due to the ball hit of some great players. So these cricket games are pretty dangerous. So next time when you're going to see a cricket match, I recommend you to take some strong metal things so that you can protect yourself from the ball hit. Okay? So let's move forward and think about something other stuff in our daily life. So a truck at rest does not require any attention when parked along a roadside. Do you observe it even? But a moving truck, even at a speed as low as 5 meters per second, may kill a person standing in its path. The trucks are pretty dangerous, so be careful while crossing the roads. And then again, a small mass such as bullet may kill a person when fired from a gun. You might be seeing them in movies. So these observations suggest a lot. So what do you basically understand by these observations? Think a little bit and let me know in the comment section. So from this, actually, we get to know that the impact produced by the object depends on the mass and velocity. So, similarly, if an object is to be accelerated, we know that a greater force is required to give it a greater velocity. You might have been observed it pretty many times. You have already seen in the previous chapter motion pretty examples of these situations. So basically, in other words, there appears to exist some quantity of importance that combines the object's mass as well as its velocity. One such property called momentum was introduced by the great scientist Isaac Newton. So the momentum P of an object is defined as the product of its mass into velocity V. So we can write it as P is equal to mv. So this momentum has both direction as well as magnitude. So its direction is same as that of velocity v. So the SI unit of momentum is nothing but kilogram meter per second. So since the application of an unbalanced force brings a change in the velocity of the object, it is therefore clear that a force also produces a change of momentum. So what do you think of it? It is definitely a vector quantity. So now let us try to consider another situation. So in this situation, let us consider a car with a dead battery. So I guess you know about this dead battery car? It doesn't start. So how do you make it start? You should have to push it a little bit so that it starts. The battery gets retained. So the dead battery is to be pushed along a straight road to give it a speed of 1 meter per second, which is sufficient to start its engine. So if one or two persons try to give it a sudden push, means just an unbalanced force to it, it hardly starts. But a continuous push over some time results in a gradual acceleration of the car to this speed. So basically, it means that the change of momentum of the car is not only determined by the magnitude of the force, but also by the time during which the force is exerted. It may then also be concluded that force is necessary to change the momentum of an object depending on the time rate at which the momentum is changed. So, the second law of motion states that the rate of change of momentum of an object is proportional to the applied and balanced force in the direction of motion. So this basically means nothing but the momentum is direct proportional to unbalanced force in the direction of force. So that's it for today, guys. In the next video, let's derivate the mathematical formulation of second law of motion. So in this video, we have learned about second law of motion pretty easily. So next video, let's derive that equation also very easily. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next video.